I was reading through some notes through the years. I collect a lot of stuff about Mother's Day, and I found this one. It says, this is from Angie, who's age 8, and it says, "Dear Mother, I'm going to make dinner for you on Mother's Day. It's going to be a surprise. P.S. I hope you like pizza and popcorn." Little boy Robert, he's 8, and he wrote his mom a note. He said, "Mom, I got you a turtle for Mother's Day." And he said, "I hope you like the turtle I got you this year better than the snake I got you last year." Well, the girls in my life, they'd like the turtle better than the snake. I know that from a little girl named a 9-year-old Eileen from Baltimore. She said, "Mama, I wish Mother's Day wasn't always on Sunday. It'd be better if it were on Monday so we wouldn't have to go to school." I hear a little ulterior motive in that. A little girl named Diane from Cincinnati, she's 8 years old. She said, "I hope you like the flowers I got for you on Mother's Day. I picked them myself when Mr. Smith wasn't looking." Billy, age 9, said, "Dear Mom," and by the way, Mother would have loved this one when we were growing up. She said, "Dear Mom, Arthur and I promised not to fight all day for Mother's Day. Dear son." That was our main occupation when we were children. We'd just get up in the morning and start fighting, and then we'd quit for lunch when we were Mom. Little girl from Los Angeles, her name is Carol, she's 8. She said, "Dear Mother, here are 2 aspirins. Have a happy Mother's Day." That'll work, wouldn't it? You know, we make such a big deal out of Mother's Day, and I know how emotionally charged this day is. And so I want you to relax. We're not going to make this very emotionally heavy today. I want it to be light and fun. We're not going to even just talk about mothers. We're going to talk about women in general, because I know that some of you here today are wonderful people, and God didn't bless you with children, and you feel maybe left out today. I don't want you to feel left out at all. This is just going to be for all mothers, all women today, as we talk about this. Alan Thicke, a TV personality, said he said something about his mother's cooking. I thought it was so cute. He said, "She would burn, then she would cremate, and she would nuke." "If you are what you eat," he said, "I'd be black." And her idea of a balanced meal was one you had a 50-50 chance of surviving. He was talking about that the technology hadn't helped his mother at all, hadn't improved her techniques at all, because she's got a microwave now and she can just burn faster. This is typical of the speed at which we all have to live in today, especially young women. Said, "I read about a woman who telephoned a friend and asked how she was feeling. 'Terrible,' came the reply over the wire. 'My head is splitting, my back and legs are killing me. The house is a mess. The kids are simply driving me crazy.' Very sympathetically, the caller said, 'Listen, honey, go and lie down. I'll come right over and cook lunch and clean the house and take care of the kids while you get some rest. By the way, how's Sam?' 'Sam? Sam who?' complained the wife. 'I haven't got any husband named Sam.' 'My heavens,' the woman said, 'I bet I've called the wrong number.'" A long pause. Then the little lady said, "Well, could you come over anyway?" Don't matter who you are, just with that kind of an offer, come on over. Ladies, you are so valuable to our lives. I can't even get close to how valuable you are to us, and we appreciate you so much. We want what we want. The Bible wants, what God wants for you, is for all the ladies in our church to live up to their potential, to be everything God made you to be, and so that you won't miss out on the good things of life. And so God put you here for a purpose, and you know that. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a lot of reasons. I mean, ladies are so multitasking and so multi-dimensional that you are here for more than just one thing. But you are here for some purpose, and God has already designed that. So let me talk about today what you were put here to do. Ladies, this is what I believe God wants to tell you, why He made you and why He put you here. I'm going to be reading out of Matthew. I'm going to take a short hiatus from our Ten Commandments study, We're going to get back in that Thursday night, and we'll be dealing with not admitting adultery this Thursday night. You'll think about that a minute and get it. Some people said, the Bible said, thou shalt not commit adultery. Some said, well, thou shalt not admit adultery. So we're going to be dealing with adultery Thursday night. But I'm going to take a little break this morning and talk to the ladies in our church as we celebrate this special day for mothers. What did God put you here to do? Ladies, what's your job? There's a lot of things. You do so many things. But what are the few boiled down elements of what God put you here to do? So Matthew chapter 5, we're going to be coming into that Sermon on the Mount. That's where we are today. And someday soon, I hope to go back to the Sermon on the Mount. I think it'd be good after I get through preaching through the Ten Commandments, to come back and preach maybe the Sermon on the Mount. And I might just do that. The Lord would lead me. And go in there and see what Jesus said about the Ten Commandments and bring them down to the current modern day. But we are today looking at what Jesus said at the Sermon on the Mount. And He said in verse 13, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, so that they may see your good deeds and praise or glorify your Father that is in heaven." Ladies, I think the most important thing that you need to write down in your book of memory, or your book of direction and mission, is that God put you here on this earth to influence this world, to influence your world, to love the Father in heaven. Not just influence it, but to bring the influence toward the Father. Teach people to love the Father in heaven. That's why God put you here. And you do that in so many ways. And you bless us so wonderfully. When you love us and you love our families and you take care of us and you bless us, you're teaching us to love our Father. And I just want to encourage you, ladies, in that journey that you're on today. See, you are here to be salty. How many of you are salty? Well, you're here to be salty. That's what God put you here to do. Salt is an amazing chemical element. It is amazing what it can do. It can keep things from spoiling. Have you ever tried to eat brown beans without a little salt? It just makes stuff so much better. Salt just makes everything. Now, salt, but you're here to be salty. But whenever salt loses its saltiness, when it stops being that chemical, when it loses some of its chemical properties, and it no longer is salt, and it degrades just a little bit. And this is kind of negative, but ladies, when you stop being salty, man, you're useless. Seriously. I mean, that's what God says here. When you lose your salt, then there's no. It says, for instance, you can't be fixed. It can't. All they do for you is throw you out and make road building material out of you. Now that's what Jesus said. He's thrown out in the pathway for people to walk on. So I mean, that was a little bit tough, and I apologize for that. But don't shoot the messenger, okay? I'm just telling you what Jesus said. You are here to be salty. So don't let your salt degrade. Make sure that you hold that character sterling pure, and increase your saltiness as you age and as you grow through life. Become saltier as you influence your people around you and keep things from spoiling, and you understand all that. Then he said, not only are you to be salty, but you're to give off light. Your life is to light the way for your family, for your community, for your friends. You are to light, to be that light. And light, of course, dispels darkness. And you don't light a lamp or a candle, as it were here, and put it under a bucket or a bushel basket or something. You don't hide it. You put it up where it can shine light. So ladies, let your light shine. Don't hide your light. I know some of you are kind of shy, and you're kind of retiring and backward a little bit. But you need to let your light shine for men so they can see it today. God told you to do that. And let it reflect also the beauty of our Father in heaven. Now see, we're to bring praise to Him. And by your nature, salt, your born-again nature influences people by the good deeds that you do. That's the salt and the light. And ladies, I just appreciate you so much. There was an old preacher that had a parrot, and he was so proud of this parrot. But the bird had picked up, the bird had been raised by a different kind of person. He was cussed a lot and had a lot of bad things he said. And so the preacher bought the parrot from this guy, and he was so embarrassed that because he couldn't change the parrot's vocabulary. He just said bad things all the time, and he thought, well, I'm just going to put that parrot to sleep. But a lady in his congregation said, you know what? She said, before you kill that parrot, I've got a female parrot, and she's just a saint. She praises the Lord, sings Amazing Grace. She's just the most wonderful parrot you've ever seen. And she just prays all the time. Why don't you bring your parrot over and put it with mine, and we'll just let them be together, and everything will be great. The pastor said, well, it'll be worth a try. He said, I don't want to have to kill my bird, so we'll give it a shot. So he brought the parrot over, and the lady bird, the good parrot, chirped because the new parrot came and said, hey, hi Toots, how about a big kiss? The lady parrot responded gleefully, my prayers have been answered. Well, let your light shine and be salty, ladies. So you're here to influence. You're here to be an influence to your world. And so the next thing I want to tell you is you do that best by living by the law of God. Now, we've been talking about 10 Commandments here at the Calvary Church for the last few weeks. We've been walking right down by the law of God. And I want you to know that we're going to keep doing that. But when you live by God's law, you do influence and you do shine your light. Let's read now verse 17 through 20 of Matthew 5 and talk about the law of God. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. You see, some people think that Jesus came to do away with the 10 Commandments because He came to change Judaism quite a bit, and He had quite a few changes He wanted to make in that. But He didn't come to change the law. So He made that clear. Then he goes on, he says, I have not come to abolish them, the laws, but to fulfill them. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen, will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. And anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Ladies, it's simple. You want to be thought of as great in your family and in your community? Live by God's law. Not just live by it, but teach it also. Live by it and teach it. Jesus teaches us the law. Now let me just briefly let me teach you just a little bit. First of all, He didn't come to abolish the law. As I said, He didn't come to do away with it, but He came to fill it full. The law was harsh and legalistic. It was just simply legalistic. Thou shalt not. No explanation, no definition, no depth. Just thou shalt not. And so when Jesus came and He began to preach out of here in Matthew, it's recorded in the Beatitudes and in the Sermon on the Mount, He then developed the 10 Commandments. He talked about what they really meant, and He took them deeper. He said, that if you have the desire in your heart, you've committed the overt, you've broken the law. In other words, it's not just legal, but spiritually you can break that law. And next Thursday night I'm going to talk about how adultery is more than just a physical thing, but it goes in multiple directions of what it can do. So He didn't come to abolish it, He came to complete it. Now the law of God is going to last until it gets done what it was given to do. It's not going to end. I mean, we read it there. I said, I've not come. I tell you the truth, heaven and earth will pass away or disappear, but the law will stay. It's going to be written forever. It will not change as long as time lasts. Now, how we keep the law matters here on this earth and in the world to come. You see, here's the thing. We set in motion, what we're hearing on earth, we set in motion even our eternity. In other words, we're going to be judged for the things we do. We're going to be rewarded for the good things. In other words, we set in motion here things that will follow us off even into eternity. So don't think everything we do ends here. Some things we do here continue off even into eternity. And lawbreakers, and especially those who influence others to break the law, are considered least in the kingdom of God. This breaks my heart when I see how mothers sometimes can adversely influence their children. They watch mother make bad decisions. They watch mother do things that are against God's law, and it's imprinted on children, and it's passed on. Now imagine passing on the permission to sin or to influence a child to disobey God's law, and then that gets passed on to another generation, and then passed on to another generation. And before long, you have an entire lawless nation. And I'm afraid, my dear friends, if we don't turn this thing around, we're beginning to see what happens when mothers have stopped living by the law of God. We've sown the whirlwind. Now, the law keepers and those who influence others to keep it are considered the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And if you look back over your life, people you've known, ladies especially, women you've known, who had the greatest impact on our culture, on our society, in our churches, in our neighborhoods, you will notice that every time are women who have lived and promoted the law of God. They've lived by those laws. They've lived lives that were exemplary. And if you look back, that's how it's always answered. Now, so Jesus taught us that the Ten Commandments is very important, and He teaches us to live by it and to teach it. And mothers are to live by it, to teach it as well as live by it. I found this little story, this little reading that was awfully cute about a teacher. And this lady was a teacher, but she was praying. She said, Lord, give me the wisdom to discover in each child his spark of divinity, the gift that you have given him, and through love and guidance nurture this spark into a glowing flame. Let me not favor any one child at the expense of others. Let all be equally worthy of my devotion without regard to their intelligence, their religion, their race, or their wealth. Let me teach love, the love of America, by keeping ever alive her commitment to the greatest good for the greatest number, in the belief that these children are your greatest good and your greatest number. And, Lord, help. They're coming in the room right now, all 32 of them, and any small miracle would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure that teachers have felt like that. Lord, I want to do a good job, and here they come. Help me out, Lord, all I can. So don't fail to perform your purpose and teach others to live by the law of God. I just want to say today, from the Cowboy Church to all of you ladies who are here, we love you. We appreciate you. You mean more to us and to this church than you could ever imagine. As you are familiar, if you look back over our culture, most churches today that are in existence, this is very important, I want you to hear this. Most churches in existence today are there because women kept them going. If it were for our women, most of the churches in our country would not exist. Now, I also want you to notice, the Cowboy Church is completely different. This is a church built on the shoulders of men. Are you aware of that? It's built on men. It is designed by men. It is led by men. But even though this is a men's church, don't you know how safe it is for women who know God's law? How much women love being a part of a church led by men. This is a men's church. And ladies, you make it so special. Amen. When you come and you add your touch to it and your love and your servant nature to it. I just want you today I want to thank you, because how you've blessed this church. It wouldn't be near the church it is without you. But I want to also thank our men for how they've stepped up. So make a commitment today to keep God's law and keep influencing others. You will notice today that I didn't read the Proverbs 31 woman. And those of you who go to church all the time should applaud me. I did not go into that. And to tell you what all you need to do, I want to tell you what God said about you. He said, you want to make a difference in this world? You love the law of God and teach others to love it. And you will make the biggest influence in your life. Thank you for being here today. Happy Mother's Day. I think we have something special for you here at the end of the service. But let's close our service at my preaching.